I didn't plan on doing another video today, but if you saw my post last night, the one about fibromyalgia and red light therapy, then you understand why I felt I needed to put another video out with regards to red light and its potential ability to help people with fibromyalgia. Now, what I posted last night was simply one of the graphics from the research paper that I'd read. Now, what you see a lot of the time is when people post research papers is that they've read the abstract. I don't. I tend to read the paper because the abstract didn't give too much away. It said it was positive, but didn't give too much away. But when you actually look at the results and the graphic that I showed yesterday, and I'll put a link to it underneath this post, what you see about red light therapy when combined with exercise. Now, we all know that if you've got fibromyalgia, then exercise therapy is very, very important to help kind of minimize the potential downsides. And when I'm saying downsides, I'm talking about anxiety, I'm talking about depression, body stiffness, fatigue, pain points, sleep, the ability to wake up, difficulty sleeping, stuff like that. So it's not just the the pain points, or not just the inability to that kind of overall body stiffness that I'm talking about. I'm talking about the mental side as well. And so when we are talking about fibromyalgia and we are talking about modalities that people know, they tend to be the exercise and they tend to be drugs, but we get resistant to those drugs. And people don't know that, is that after a while you start to get resistant to those drugs. And so you're left with exercise. And so this paper looked at if you just did exercise, if you just did phototherapy, or red light therapy as it were, or if you combine the two, or if you did nothing. And what they found was that in every single incidence, now I'm talking anxiety, I'm talking depression, I'm talking body stiffness, I'm talking fatigue, I'm talking sleep, wake up, sleep difficulty, I'm talking pain points, etc. On every single measurement, adding light therapy to the existing exercise therapy increased the benefits. I'll say that again. On every single measurement, apart from one, and I'll talk about it in a second, they managed to increase the effectiveness of that therapy when combined with exercise. So if we're talking about anxiety, for example, then they looked at light therapy on its own, found that it had a positive effect on reducing the symptoms of anxiety. They looked at exercise on its own, found that it had a slightly better result on reducing anxiety than phototherapy alone. But once you combine the two, you had an even better result by a statistically significant amount. If we look at body stiffness, now this is the one, body stiffness was the one where they found that combining exercise and light therapy didn't increase it above a single dosage. But the single thing that had the most effect on body stiffness in this study was light therapy. There wasn't a statistical significant difference between exercise and light therapy alone, but there was a statistical significant difference between light therapy and exercise. So on every other thing, anxiety, depression, body stiffness, fatigue, FIQ scores, sleep, wake up, and sleep difficulty, adding light therapy to your existing exercise protocol helped. And I'm just looking at the results now. Almost all had a statistically significant increase in just exercise or light therapy alone. So if you are concerned, or if you are someone that suffers from fibromyalgia, and at the moment you're taking drugs, or you even have a fairly drug-resistant fibromyalgia, then I implore you to look closely at red light therapy. If you know someone that's got fibromyalgia and is really struggling with body stiffness or with fatigue, because they are huge differences, like that, specifically with fatigue, if you combine exercise and red light therapy, the fatigue improvements, if I just have a quick look here, yeah, they saw a 20% decrease in symptoms compared to an under 10 if you're just doing exercise. If you thought you had 20% more energy than you do now. Now 20% doesn't sound massive, like it's not like it's 100% more energy. But if you had a 20% decrease in your fatigue symptoms, how much more effective would you be? How much more productive would you be? And for example, I'll look at this. I just peered down to another one. If we look at the difficulty in sleeping when using both exercise and phototherapy, they saw a reduction of around, I'm just looking at the graph, I haven't got the specifics here, I'm just looking at the graph, of around 60%. A reduction in the difficulty of sleeping of 60%. Which I think is pretty damn impressive. So, again, if you are someone or you know someone that has fibromyalgia and is really suffering from it, please, 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 you can get in touch with me and I will explain it all. Or you can do your own research. Now, with all these videos, I would always suggest that you do your own research. Don't just take anybody's word, because there are so many people out there like spouting rubbish. There are so many people spouting rubbish that the research just doesn't back up. Now, there is research which shows that there isn't improvement in fibromyalgia symptoms out there. But there is also research that shows it does. And so you kind of pick your thing. And I'm just showing you one study that showed that showed nice improvements. Now, again, we are all individuals. So how we respond to red light, how we respond to light therapy in general, how we respond to light in general, is very specific to you. But there is a potential there, absolutely, to improve your symptoms significantly. So again, if you have fibromyalgia, you know someone with fibromyalgia, please, 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 show them this video, or encourage them to look into photobiomodulation, red light therapy, and fibromyalgia. Have a great day. Stay healthy.